Nostalgia is a really interesting thing. It can take something of varying degrees of quality and turn it into a very cherished memory. I'm back here at home, the lake, for the holidays, and even though I'm not the biggest water person ever, I think after growing up here, you kind of grow a fondness towards it. You know, after I made that challenge you video a while back, it got me thinking as to other things I grew up with and just to see if they still hit the same today. This is everywhere at the end of Bikini Bottom, and if you're a little confused, you probably have a good reason to be. This is a lot of things combined in one. Now, I hate to be the stereotypical YouTuber who has to bring up everywhere at the end of time into every video essay, but I think it's relevant to what I'm talking about here. Everywhere at the end of the Bikini Bottom essentially encapsulates a very interesting feeling, which of course the original album by Lane Kirby's The Caretaker does as well. And I'm not here to talk about that and run that album into the ground because there are plenty of other YouTubers who have done that much better. But I've always had somewhat of a fascination towards SpongeBob production music, and hearing this and the slow descent into madness that it becomes was a really interesting experiment. Essentially, it takes the feelings and familiarity of SpongeBob and slowly distorts them over time until it's something completely unrecognizable. And I feel that applies to the game I'm talking about today. That is SpongeBob Squarepants' Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. Now, let me give a disclaimer here. This is not so much of a summary of the game and what it takes to beat it and, an in-depth analysis, as much as it is a look at it and peeling back the layer of what is this game in the grand scheme of SpongeBob. Of course, every show or movie had to have some kind of video game tie-in back in the early 2000s, and SpongeBob was definitely no exception. Revenge of the Flying Dutchman was essentially the first foray into the 3D realm that SpongeBob had really seen, maybe despite a couple PC games here and there, but real actual story-driven game. Now don't get me wrong, 3D SpongeBob games would actually take off to be really, really good, especially after this one with Battle for Bikini Bottom. Still one of my favorite games, and clearly the favorite of many as it got a remake just recently. But let's talk about Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. I recently replayed this game, and it's not really as good as I remember. Now, of course I say as I remember, but I do remember being a kid and getting extremely frustrated with many parts of this game, especially the delivery mission downtown. Oh my goodness, just no. But replaying it, some aspects of the game stood out a bit more than I think the developers intended. And that would be a lot of the world, atmosphere, feel of the game. Now, if you grew up watching SpongeBob like I did, you'll know it's a really fun show. The world is very fun and silly and nautical, right? As they even say in the theme song. But Revenge of the Flying Dutchman feels a little off. Now, I don't want to take 100% credit for the idea of this video. Actually, on the Everywhere at the End of Bikini Bottom video, comments like Pad Shennington really got me thinking about the game itself. So let's jump into it and I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so here we are in the game. Right outside of SpongeBob's house. Now, if you've watched the show, you probably know. Okay, you got SpongeBob, you got Squidward's, and you got Patrick's, and then you got there's just a whole open area. Well, not really here. Everything's just kind of closed off. And also, the back is kind of interesting. Squidward's got a whole farm back here. And what is going on? What geysers, I guess? I don't know. It's just interesting. I mean, at least the layout's right, but you got these valleys and you got everything's just very condensed, Yeah, let's move on. Okay, so I turned the music off because I feel like that kind of added to the effect, just to, really get a focus on the environments. All right, so let's take a look. So right out of the gate, the Krusty Krab has a parking lot, which is just interesting. There's a clam in the back, of course, but it's just, everything is kind of, gated off, and I get it. It's a game. It's got to have boundaries. It's an early game, so it's, this is pretty far from open world. But it's just, when did the Krusty Krab look like this around? Everything's just so condensed. And as we kind of, pan over, we get a nice hooky reference. There you go. Just, up above. Another geyser. Lots of geysers. But we look at the chum bucket, and just, there's a green radioactive leak or something going on. Let's check that out. Now, aside from the hash slinging slasher, I don't really recall another appearance of, like, the green ooze that, like, you know, I guess drips from the chum bucket. I mean, it's like, what is Plankton cooking up back there? I don't know, it's an odd choice. Like, in no way does this really even relate to the story. I don't think it's ever brought up, if I remember correctly. But it's just like, why not just have the chum bucket? And it's missing the fist, by the way. But like, what is going on here? You know, what is... I don't know. Lots of questions. It has its own sound effect, and you also get hurt by it. It's just interesting. That's all I'll say. Let's move on. Oh, goodness. Got a fish jump scare right there, but... Yeah, let's look at this. I didn't mean to, you know, put on, like, liminal spaces of SpongeBob, but... Can you guess where we are? Like, you know, if you watch SpongeBob, you remember this place, right? The dark alley with the street lights and the jellyfish and the mean fish that are just kind of walking around. Yeah, this is downtown Bikini Bottom for you. Also, I'm going to point this out. The character models in this game, she's standing right behind me, isn't she? Just staring, just standing there menacingly. Menacingly! Just getting another shot of this alley. You know, SpongeBob things. Alright, can you guess where we are now? What, you can't tell by the menacing clouds and the ocean here with the lightning? Let me turn around for you. What, you still confused? It's the Goo Lagoon. Don't you remember the Goo Lagoon with the giant tower, the spiraling clouds, and just the evil look here going on? I don't know. I don't even know what to say on this one. I always found this area just really odd because this whole time, you know, Larry is just kind of being a jerk to SpongeBob. I don't really know. It's just not even in his character, right? And I don't want to go all like, yeah, oh, it's a creepypasta, ha ha ha. But I don't know. It's just, I mean, like what happened here? It's just like, I don't know. Like, there's not really an explanation. It's just how it is. Let's go to the top. All right, so we're at the top of the lighthouse. What is happening? Like, why is this so menacing? I remember, and I could probably find it, but originally Larry is like waiting for you up here at like one of these little outlets. And I don't know, that like this just feels so surreal. Like, yeah, this is the Goo Lagoon, I guess. You know, like in Battle for Bikini Bottom, you fight one of these guys. Just straight up, you fight one. But here there's tons. And there's just nothing on this like platform too. You're just at the peak. Something I forgot to note, there's this whole subsection just for going up to the top. Like, not even to the top, but like the entrance to the top. Like the upper floor. Like, it's just this little section. Like, there's nothing else you can even do here. There's no other, like, you know, point to this area other than just going up there, I guess. I don't know. Always just struck me a little odd, but let's keep moving on. Now, I hope I don't have to explain this one. But, oh, goodness gracious. I probably shouldn't have been standing here. All right, so this gives a bit of a better view of what I'm talking about. Chum World. Like, the water's green, like plankton, I guess. But look at these lights after the antenna passes by. They just kind of, like, go up. Kind of like the hooks, which, I don't know, in a weird way makes me think of some kind of, like, bait. Which, it's just interesting. The two, like, fish on the endless roller coaster over there, like, this is just a mess. I feel like game design-wise, it's like, again, everything feels so, like, cluttered. I think this is kind of an interesting spot, too. Like, looking out on the beach, and it looks like there's, like, some shiny thing out there. I don't know if that's a glitch or what, but, like, you can clearly tell with the buoy. You know, there's like a JPEG, like transparent kind of thing going on here. Like the singular bubble kind of doing its thing. But way off in the distance, you can kind of see what looked like to be some other islands or rocks, and then kind of a nice sunset. And it's not often you would go here. Now, I know I'm taking a lot of inspiration from Any Austin. Shout out to his channel. He does a lot of these just like, you know, uncomfortable, unusual places, unordinary, you know, that you'd be in a game. And I thought this was a fitting format, at least for Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. So, but yeah, that's about all I got. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the game. Definitely an interesting experience, to say the least. Would definitely love to know what you guys think. Did you play this game? Did you have the same kind of thoughts and feelings I did? Would love to know. Leave a comment. And I wanted to end this video by saying I hope to start uploading on this channel a little more. I know that's a typical YouTuber thing of like, well, oh, I've been off the grind, and well, you know, life gets in the way, and well, it does. I've definitely been a little busy, but I have a lot more game-related ideas, similar to this one, and even to some of my other videos, so would appreciate the support. Subscribing, liking, watching another video of mine in the recommended is also a huge algorithm push. Also, I do make music, and some of the music you've heard in this video is actually by me. I just released a new album called Frame Detection by Nameless Warning, and it's on all the streaming platforms, so if you'd like to check it out, please do. This has been Jacob. I'll see you in the next video. See you guys.